I pressed my forehead against the aeroplane window and watched the Arizona desert spread out below me like a wrinkled quilt. 8 months, that's how long I'd been gone, living in a cramped room in Boston's North End, taking care of Mrs. Chen while her daughter worked 70-hour weeks at some law firm. 8 months of loneliness, of microwave dinners eaten alone, of hearing other people's families laugh in rooms I wasn't invited into. But it was worth it, or so I kept telling myself, because every month I wired $4,500 home to Tucson so my mother could finally rest. Mama had cleaned houses for 40 years. Her knees were shot, her hands twisted from arthritis, and her Social Security check barely covered her mortgage. When I got the caregiver position through an agency, the pay was too good to pass up. Almost $6,000 a month for live-in work. I could send most of it home and still save a little. At 66, I was tired too, but I wasn't broken yet. And Mama deserved better than counting pennies at the grocery store. The taxi from the airport smelled like fake pine and cigarettes. The driver tried to make conversation, but I just smiled politely and looked out the window. Tucson hadn't changed much. Same dusty streets, same sun-bleached storefronts, same mountains rising purple in the distance. When we pulled up to Mama's little adobe house on Elm Street, I saw her garden had grown wild. The rose bushes she loved were choked with weeds. That surprised me. I'd been sending enough money that she could have hired someone to help. She met me at the door, smaller than I remembered, her grey hair freshly permed. Mija, she pulled me into her arms and I smelled Pond's cold cream and Aquanet hairspray, the smells of my childhood. I've missed you so much. I missed you too, Mama. I held her tight, feeling how thin she'd gotten. Have you been eating enough? You know me. I forget sometimes. She waved her hand dismissively. Come in, come in. I made your favorite chili Colorado. The house looked exactly the same. The velvet painting of Jesus still hung over the sofa. The ceramic rooster collection still lined the kitchen windowsill. But as I set my suitcase down, I noticed things I hadn't expected. The carpet was worn through in spots. The curtains were the same ones from 10 years ago, faded and thin. The kitchen faucet dripped steadily into a bowl placed in the sink. Mama, why haven't you fixed the faucet? She laughed, stirring the pot on the stove. Oh, the plumber wanted $200 just to look at it. I've been meaning to call someone cheaper. $200 shouldn't have mattered, not with what I'd been sending. I felt the first prickle of unease, but pushed it away. Maybe she was just being careful with money. Old habits die hard. We sat at the kitchen table, the same Formica table where I'd done my homework as a girl, and ate chile Colorado with flour tortillas. Mama asked about Boston, about Mrs. Chen, about whether I'd been to church. I told her about the Italian neighborhood, the cannoli shops, the harbor. I didn't tell her about the loneliness, about crying myself to sleep some nights, about how much it cost to be away from home. Mija, I need to tell you something. Mama reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Her skin was paper thin, spotted with age. I don't know what I'd do without those $700 you send every month. It's been such a blessing. The room tilted. I heard the words, but they didn't make sense. 700, my mouth went dry. Mama, what did you say? The $700 every month, like clockwork. You're such a good daughter. I couldn't breathe. The chile Colorado turned to stone in my stomach. Mama, I've been sending you $4,500 every month. Her face went blank. What? No, Mija, I get $700, always $700. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, opened my banking app, showed her the transfer history. 8 transactions, $4,500 each, all marked as completed, all sent to the wire transfer service she used. Mama stared at the screen. Her lips moved silently, calculating, her face drained of color. That's over $30,000. Where is it, Mama? Where's the rest of the money? I don't know. I swear to God, I only get $700. The girls pick it up for me. She stopped mid-sentence. Her hand flew to her mouth. What girls? Kayla and Brittany, your nieces. They've been so helpful, Meja. Every month they drive me to the wire transfer place, help me with the paperwork since my eyes aren't so good anymore. They pick up the money for me and bring it right over. My vision blurred red. Kayla and Brittany, my sister Linda's daughters. I'd changed their diapers. I'd taught Kayla to ride a bike. I'd helped Brittany with her college applications. And now they were stealing from their own grandmother. How much do they bring you, Mama? Exactly $700, always in cash. They're so sweet about it. They even, her voice cracked. Oh, Meager, oh no. I stood up so fast, my chair scraped against the linoleum. Where do they live? Michelle, wait, where do they live, Mama? She gave me Kayla's address. They were living together in an apartment complex on the east side. I grabbed my purse. Don't do anything crazy, Mama called after me. They're family. I didn't answer. I got in my rental car and drove across town, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Family, the word tasted bitter. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't take advantage of an old woman's failing eyesight and trusting heart. The apartment complex was nicer than I expected. A gated community with a pool and a gym. I had to wait for someone to exit before I could slip through the gate. Building C, apartment 214. I climbed the outdoor stairs, my heart pounding. I knocked once, twice, 3 times. Kayla opened the door. She was 32 now, wearing yoga pants and a tank top, her blonde hair in a messy bun. When she saw me, her face went pale. Tia, Michelle, we didn't know you were coming. I can see that. I pushed past her into the apartment. It was beautiful. Leather furniture, a huge flat screen TV, expensive artwork on the walls. Brittany was sitting on the sofa, also in workout clothes, a green smoothie in her hand. She froze when she saw me. Hey Tia, she said weakly. I looked around the apartment slowly, deliberately. Nice place. How much is the rent here? It's like $1,800 a month, Kayla stammered. Each or together? Together. And you both work, right? What do you do now? They exchanged glances. Brittany spoke first. I'm between jobs right now. I do some DoorDash deliveries. I work part-time at Target, Kayla added. I'm trying to find something better. Part-time at Target and DoorDash. Maybe $2,000 a month combined if they were lucky. But they were living in a $1,800 apartment with leather furniture and a Peloton bike in the corner. I just came from your grandmother's house, I said quietly. She told me something interesting. Kayla's eyes filled with tears immediately. Brittany set down her smoothie with trembling hands. She told me she's been getting $700 a month from the money I send. $700 out of $4,500 for 8 months. I let that hang in the air. That's $30,400 missing. Want to tell me where it went? Tia, we can explain, Kayla started. Explain what? Explain how you stole from your own grandmother? Explain how you looked me in the eye at Christmas and hugged me while you were robbing me. We were going to pay it back. Brittany's voice was high and desperate. We had some bills and we thought, you thought what? That I wouldn't notice, that I'd just keep working myself to death in Boston while you bought a Peloton. Tears streamed down Kayla's face. We're sorry, we're so sorry. Sorry doesn't give your grandmother back the 8 months she could have lived without worrying about money. Sorry doesn't give me back the nights I worked overtime thinking I was helping my family. I pulled out my phone. I'm calling the police. No, they both shouted it at once. Kayla grabbed my arm. Please, Tia, please don't. We'll go to jail. You should go to jail. You committed wire fraud. You stole over $30,000. Please. Brittany was sobbing now. We'll pay you back. Every penny. We promise. With what money? Your part-time Target job. We'll figure it out. We'll get second jobs. We'll sell everything. Just please don't call the police. I should have pressed the button. I should have let them face the consequences they deserved. But I thought of Mama begging me not to destroy the family. I thought of my sister Linda, who'd already lost her husband to cancer 3 years ago. I thought of these two girls when they were small, before whatever happened to turn them into thieves. I'm going to talk to your grandmother, I said, lowering my phone. And if she wants me to press charges, I will. Do you understand? They nodded, crying too hard to speak. I drove back to Mama's house in silence. The sun was setting, painting the desert sky orange and pink, beautiful and indifferent. When I walked inside, Mama was sitting at the kitchen table, rosary beads in her hands, her eyes red from crying. I called Linda, she said quietly. She's on her way over. Good, Michelle, I need you to promise me something. Mama, promise me you won't call the police. I sat down across from her, exhausted. They stole over $30,000 from us, from you. I know what they did, but prison won't fix this. It'll destroy them. It'll destroy Linda. It'll destroy our family. They destroyed our family when they decided to steal. They made a terrible mistake, but they're young. They can still learn. They can still change. Mama reached for my hand. Please, Misha, let me handle this my way. Your way. Mama, they took advantage of you. I know, and they will face consequences, but not prison, please, for me. I looked at her weathered face, at the tears on her cheeks, at the faith in her eyes that somehow, despite everything, her family could be redeemed, and I felt something crack inside my chest. Not agreement, not forgiveness, but something like surrender. What do you want me to do? I want you to trust me. Can you do that? Before I could answer, there was a knock at the door. Linda had arrived, and behind her, Kayla and Brittany stood on the porch, their faces destroyed by guilt and fear. The moment of reckoning had come, and I still didn't know if mercy was the right choice or just another way of letting them get away with breaking all of our hearts. Linda walked through the door looking 10 years older than the last time I'd seen her. My younger sister had always been the pretty one, the social one, but grief and stress had carved lines around her mouth and eyes. She glanced at her daughters standing behind her on the porch, then at me, then at Mama. I didn't know, she said immediately, her voice breaking. I swear to God, Michelle, I had no idea what they were doing. Come inside, Mama said quietly. All of you. We gathered in the small living room. Kayla and Brittany sat on the sofa, hunched over like they were trying to disappear. Linda stood near the doorway, arms crossed over her chest. Mama settled into her recliner. I stayed standing, too angry to sit, too tired to keep shouting. Mama looked at her granddaughters for a long moment. The silence was crushing. Tell me why, she finally said. I need to understand why you would do this to me. Brittany spoke first, her voice barely a whisper. We were drowning, Grandma. I lost my job at the hospital last year. They did layoffs and Kayla's hours got cut. We were about to lose our apartment. We saw the money coming in and we told ourselves it was temporary, that we'd pay it back. But you didn't pay it back, I said. You bought a Peloton, you upgraded your furniture. That was later, Kayla said miserably. After we caught up on rent and bills, we convinced ourselves we deserved something nice. We told ourselves Tia Michelle was rich, that she wouldn't miss it. Rich, I laughed bitterly. I share a bedroom with cleaning supplies. I eat ramen 4 nights a week. I haven't bought myself new clothes in a year. Rich, we know, Brittany sobbed. We know how awful it is. We're terrible people. You're not terrible, Mama said firmly. You did a terrible thing. There's a difference. Linda finally spoke. They're moving back in with me. Tonight, they're selling everything in that apartment. The furniture, the bike, the TV, all of it. Every penny goes back to Michelle. That won't even cover a quarter of what they took, I said. I know. Linda's voice was steady now, determined. I have $8,000 in savings, it's yours, and I'm taking out a loan for the rest. I'll pay you back every dollar they stole, even if it takes me years. Linda, you can't. Yes, I can. They're my daughters. This is my responsibility too. I should have been watching closer. I should have asked more questions when they suddenly had money for that apartment. Mama raised her hand. No one is taking out loans. That's not how we're doing this. We all turned to look at her. Here's what's going to happen, Mama said, her voice stronger than I'd heard it in years. Kayla and Brittany, you're moving back home with your mother tonight. You're selling everything in that apartment except your clothes and personal items. That money gets returned immediately. They nodded, crying. You're both getting second jobs, full-time hours, not part-time. I don't care if you have to work at the grocery store or wash dishes. You work, and every extra penny after your basic bills goes to your Tia Michelle until the debt is paid. Yes, Grandma, they whispered in unison. And every Sunday you come to church with me, all of us together. And after church you come here for dinner. You look me in the eye every single week and you tell me how much you've paid back. You face what you did. No hiding, no avoiding. You carry this with you until it's made right. We will, Kayla said. I promise. Mama turned to Linda. You're not taking out any loans. You've been through enough. But Mama, no buts. Your girls made this mess. They'll clean it up. It'll take time, but they're young enough to have time. Then Mama looked at me and her eyes were full of something I couldn't quite name. Sadness, yes, but also strength. Michelle, I know you want justice. I know you want them punished, but I'm asking you, begging you to let them make this right without destroying their lives. Can you do that for me? I felt tears burning behind my eyes. Everything in me screamed that this wasn't enough, that they should face real consequences, that mercy was just another word for letting people off easy. But I looked at my mother, 83 years old and still fighting for her family's redemption, and I couldn't say no to her. Okay, I whispered, okay, Mama, we'll do it your way. Thank you, Major. Kayla and Brittany left that night to pack up their apartment. Linda stayed behind, helping Mama get ready for bed while I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee I didn't drink. When Linda came back downstairs, she sat across from me. I'm sorry, she said. I failed as a mother. I raised girls who would steal from their own grandmother. You didn't fail. They made their own choices. Still, she wiped her eyes. After Tom died, I checked out for a while. I was so lost in my own grief that I didn't see what was happening with them. The money problems, the desperation. I should have helped them before it got this bad. We all miss things, I said quietly. I've been so focused on sending money that I didn't visit for 8 months. I didn't see that Mama's house was falling apart. I didn't ask the right questions. Linda reached across the table and squeezed my hand. We'll fix this, I promise. It'll take time, but we'll fix it. Over the next 3 months, I stayed in Tucson. I couldn't go back to Boston. Mrs. Chen had passed away while I was gone, and the agency offered me a new position in Phoenix, just 2 hours from home. The pay was less, but I could visit Mama every weekend. Kayla and Brittany kept their word. They sold everything from the apartment and brought me $4,200 in cash. Brittany got a job as a medical records clerk at the same hospital that had laid her off. They were hiring again. Kayla found full-time work at a logistics company. Between them, they paid me back $800 to $1,000 every month. Every Sunday, without fail, they came to church. I'd see them sitting in the pew with Mama, their heads bowed during prayer. Afterward, we'd all gather at Mama's house for dinner. At first, those dinners were painful, stilted conversation, averted eyes, the weight of what they'd done hanging over us like smoke. But slowly, something shifted. One Sunday in June, Brittany brought the payment envelope and sat down next to me on Mama's porch while Kayla helped with dinner inside. Tia Michelle, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you think you'll ever forgive us? Really forgive us, not just tolerate us? I was quiet for a long moment, watching a hummingbird dart between Mama's rose bushes. Someone had weeded the garden. It looked beautiful again. I don't know yet, I said honestly. What you did hurt me. It hurt all of us. But I see you trying. That matters. We are trying, she said softly. Every day I wake up and I feel sick about what we did. I can't believe we thought it was okay. Why did you think it was okay? Really? She was quiet, struggling with the answer. I think we convinced ourselves that family money was somehow different. Like it wasn't real stealing because we were family and we were so desperate and it was right there, and we made excuses until the excuses felt like reasons. And now I know there's no excuse, and I know I'll be paying for this mistake for years. But Tia, I'm grateful Grandma gave us a chance to make it right. I know we didn't deserve it. I looked at her then, really looked at her. She'd lost weight. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wasn't wearing makeup. She looked exhausted and humbled and, for the first time, genuinely grown up. Keep making it right, I said. That's all you can do now. By September, they paid back $6,000. Mama's house got a new roof. I paid for it with money I'd saved from the Phoenix job. We fixed the plumbing, replaced the worn carpet, bought new curtains. Mama cried when she saw it all finished. You didn't have to do this, Meja. Yes, I did. This is what the money was always for, Mama, for you to be comfortable. One Sunday in October after church, Kayla asked if she could talk to me privately. We walked out to Mama's garden where the roses were blooming in the cooler weather. Tia, I got a promotion at work. It comes with $300 a month raise. That's wonderful, Kayla. I'm giving all of it to you. Extra payments. I want this debt paid off as fast as possible. I studied her face. Why? You could use that money for yourself. Because I can't move forward until this is behind me. I need to know I made it right, really right. Something in my chest loosened just a little. Okay, thank you. And Tia, I know it doesn't change anything, but I need you to know how sorry I am. Not just for stealing, but for breaking your trust. For making you think your family didn't value you. You worked so hard for us and we threw it away like it meant nothing. I'll regret that for the rest of my life. Her tears were genuine. I could see that now. And while the hurt hadn't disappeared completely, I realized I'd been carrying around anger like a stone in my pocket, and it was exhausting. I appreciate you saying that. Do you think someday we could be close again, like we used to be? I thought about the little girl who used to hold my hand at the zoo, who called me her favourite aunt, who brought me dandelions like they were diamonds. I thought about the woman standing in front of me now, broken and rebuilding. Maybe, I said, not today, but maybe someday. She nodded, wiping her eyes. That's enough for me. That's more than I deserve. By the time Christmas rolled around, they'd paid back $9,800. We gathered at Mama's house, me, Linda, Kayla, Brittany, and a few other relatives. The house looked warm and beautiful, full of lights and the smell of tamales and buñuelos. Kayla and Brittany gave Mama a framed photo of all of us from church, professionally printed and matted. We wanted you to have this, Brittany said, to remember that even when we mess up, we're still family. Mama cried and held it to her chest. You girls are going to make me ruin my makeup. Later, when it was just me and Mama sitting in the living room while everyone else cleaned up in the kitchen, she took my hand. Thank you for trusting me, Meja, for letting me handle this my way. You were right, Mama. Prison would have destroyed them. This way, they're learning something real. They're learning that actions have consequences, but also that love doesn't give up. She squeezed my hand. That's what I wanted them to see, that you can fall and still get back up. That family means facing your mistakes, not running from them. I thought about all the Sundays, all the dinners, all the slow and painful work of rebuilding trust. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't quick, but it was real. You taught me that too, Mama. I wanted justice, but you showed me something better. You showed me how to hold people accountable and still love them. That's harder than just being angry. She smiled, her eyes bright with tears. You've always been my strong one, Michelle. But strength isn't just about working hard and sending money home. It's about knowing when to fight and when to forgive. It took Kayla and Brittany 2 full years to pay back every dollar they'd stolen, 2 years of extra jobs, of Sunday dinners, of facing what they'd done without hiding. The last payment came in December, 2 years after I'd first discovered the theft. Brittany handed me the envelope with trembling hands. That's it, that's everything, $30,400. I counted it slowly, deliberately. Then I set it down and looked at both of them. Thank you. You kept your word. It doesn't erase what we did, Kayla said. No, but it shows you're not the same people who did it. That Sunday, Mama made a special dinner. She raised her glass of iced tea and smiled at all of us gathered around her table. To family, she said, to the messy, complicated, beautiful work of loving each other, even when it's hard. We all raised our glasses. I looked around the table at Linda, tired but hopeful, at Kayla and Brittany, older and wiser, at Mama, still the heart of us all. To family, I echoed. And for the first time in 2 years, when I said it, I meant it without reservation. The anger had finally dissolved, replaced by something quieter but more lasting. The knowledge that we'd all survived something that could have destroyed us. And we'd come out on the other side, not perfect, but together. That night, after everyone left, I helped Mama with the dishes. She washed, I dried, just like when I was a girl. Mama, can I ask you something? Of course, Mija. How did you know they'd actually change? How did you know giving them a chance would work? She was quiet for a moment, her hands moving slowly through the soapy water. I didn't know, I just had faith. Faith that underneath the mistakes there were still good hearts. And faith that sometimes the hardest thing, showing mercy, is also the right thing. I dried the last plate and set it in the cupboard. Through the kitchen window, I could see the lights of Tucson spreading across the desert, 1,000 small lights holding back the dark. You were right, I said quietly. I know, Mama said, smiling. I'm always right. We both laughed, and in that moment, in that small kitchen that smelled of dish soap and dinner, I felt something I hadn't felt in 2 years. Peace. Real, deep, lasting peace. The money was repaid, the trust was rebuilding. The family was healing, and I was home,